Hello and welcome back to Straight Facts. It's Tuesday. I'm joined as ever by LB. We have David Speaks Football. Positive Dan is joining us soon as well. He's just caught in traffic. I have heard a rumour it's Reece James not letting Arsenal through again, but we'll find out. We'll find out why he was late when he gets here. Loads to talk about today ahead of a busy midweek fixture list with Spurs. Could it be Thomas Frank's last game as the Tottenham manager as he and the fans go to war? We're looking ahead at Arsenal versus Brentford. Chelsea have a tough game as well. Can they maintain this title push? And are they title contenders? We're debating that on the show. Also, we're asking whether Rice is in line for the Ballon d'Or, as claimed on the overlap earlier on today as well. Plus, we've got some brilliant hot takes for you. If you haven't put a hot take in, you've still got time to get it on the show. It's on our homepage right now. You can go there and you can get that done. But gentlemen, how are we both today?
Good here, mate. Yeah, big up David, big up chat.
Both won at the weekend. It's rare, isn't it? It's rare that both Manchester clubs win at the same time at the minute.
Yeah,
good.
That is rare, bro. That is rare, man. But yeah, all good, man. All good.
It's rare that we win at the minute, mate. Not the other club, you know. They're doing all right.
Yeah, a couple more wins than us. But how are you feeling at the moment, David? Because like 1 week we're getting relegated, the next week we're going to win the league. Like, where are you at this week?
I think my emotions have gone up and down so much that I've kind of found a middle ground, believe it or not. And I'm stable is the answer to your question.
I'm stable. He's not out the woods yet, but he's stable.
Yeah. Exactly.
Do you reckon we'll win the next two games? Do you reckon we'll beat West Ham and Wolves?
You just don't know. You just don't know with this Amorim team, do you? You just don't know what's going to show up. I mean, those two, Xerxes and Mason Mount, got him out of the woods the other day, didn't they? That was an awful first half performance.
If you can't beat Wolves and West Ham, bro, that is bad, man. You got to beat them two, mate. Like I watched the Liverpool-West Ham game. West Ham were awful, man. Awful. And obviously, we don't need to speak about Wolves. Everyone knows how shit they are. I think you'll beat them both, man. Like, I know you ain't great. I know you're not great, but I think that you'll have too much quality, man. I mean, too much quality. We 10 men Everton, and then you saw what Newcastle did to them the week after. But hang on a minute, Everton, like, on the day under Moisey, can be a decent team, and they can be like pretty defensively resolute. And you with all due respect, you ain't Newcastle, and you don't have the players in Newcastle. So
yeah, but Newcastle's not
talking about
well this season, right?
And West Ham here, bro. Like, you know what I mean? These are bad teams.
I think we should have had enough quality to get a draw against Everton, and like you just said, we should have enough quality to win those games. You just never know under this manager. Like I say, he's got a whole week to build on cohesion, to build on relationships, to build on some sort of a pattern. I mean, we've been saying pattern for about 12 years. How many managers have been trying to build a pattern at Manchester United?
Well, which is why I don't focus on the word pattern. I think I actually agree with Ruben in the sense of it's more about individual players doing in the second half, we press better. Players pushed up into midfield and dropped into midfield better. And then individuals, like Xerxes' first touch was better. He held the ball up better. He actually took a shot rather than laying the ball off. When I watch this, if you just watch football sometimes and take yourself out of the shell as a fan and watch it, why did City win at the weekend? I felt they were the better team overall, although Leeds did well in the second half. It was individual moments of brilliance and individual errors that actually got them into trouble. As an example, you look at Arsenal at the weekend against Chelsea. Now, we're talking Chelsea and Arsenal superior to Man United, but the equalising goal comes from a moment of brilliance from Bukayo Saka. And I think the system didn't make that goal happen. Saka did. If you take Saka out and you make that Anthony Elanga, they don't equalise. So I think there's a happy medium in this. I do agree that Amorim's got to do a better job adapting in games. At the same time, I just keep looking at some of these players and think, come on, you can do. Why was Luke Shaw pushing up more into the attack away at Palace in both halves than he did at home against Everton against 10 men? Maybe it's the manager's instructions. Maybe it's in his head. I don't know. But sometimes look at it and but equally, we'll do win these next two games. It's 1 defeat in the last 9 matches. 6 of those games will be wins. And maybe you look back at the Everton game and go, that was the anomaly. And actually, we're winning more. But I do agree with LB. We have to win these next two games. There is no excuses. I think they're the worst two teams in the league. I really, really do. especially West Ham at home, if we're not, I'm at a point where I feel like if we're not beating them by 2 clear goals, maybe even 3 clear goals, going away to Wolves, I think you've got to beat them by at least 2 goals. Even as bad as we've been at times this season, if we're not able to do that, I think it shows how poor the manager and players are collectively, and there is no excusing it, because these 2 teams, to have them in back-to-back games is what everyone in the Premier League wants. And we have
I actually think you're doing too much there, though, Terry. I think United are not in a position to be going, if we don't beat them by 3 or 4 goals.
Yeah, I agree.
You're not that team, and you're a team that should just be going to Wolves and getting the win, going to West Ham getting the win. If you win both of those games, it's highly likely you'll be in the top 5 at the end of those 2 games. So,
yeah, it makes better reading, doesn't it, if we win those 2 games for sure.
Yeah, I just don't think you're in a position really to be saying, "Oh, we need to put football." I think you're in a position to just build some consistency. Let's win some football matches back to back to put a bit of a run together, and then you know what I mean. Like when you get going and that, and you get a bit right. Let's have a look at can we get our performances better? I just think you need to win the matches. However you win them, just get the 3 points.
I do get where you're coming from. My only sort of pushback is when United kind of scrape some wins, I don't see that it improves our confidence. I feel there's an element of, I suppose where I'm projecting from is you actually go and beat, when we beat, the way we beat Brighton, as an example, the way we beat Sunderland, I felt we sort of grew through that. We beat Sunderland very well at home, and we know Sunderland are a decent team this year. The very next match we play Liverpool and we win. We then beat Brighton. Then you go for a point where we collapse in 2 games, and then the third match is Everton, and the confidence maybe has been taken from us because of the way we collapse. So for me, there's an element of win and try and win good. Yeah, even if we're 2-0 up, see the game through comfortably rather than conceding a goal in the 80th minute to West Ham.
And I hear it. I hear what you're saying, but results breed confidence. You know that, Terry. Yeah, you watched football a long time. Results build confidence. I think like you're trying to run here before you can walk, bro.
Maybe.
You know what I mean, let win some games, win 2 in a row, win 3 in a row, and then go, oh, we got a bit of a streak here. We're getting the confidence will come back to the players, and then you start to see if the performances can build from that, man. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's not that deep at the end of the day. But
I was kind of in that boat that you just said, LB, where get a few, build some momentum, get some wins. We got those 3 wins in a row, then we got those 2 draws. And it got handed on a platter against Everton. I just can't get over that. My trust has gone once again with that result.
Let me ask you a question. I'm in very similar agreement to you. Let's look at our next 3. We should beat Wolves. We should beat West Ham. We win those Bournemouth. We win those next 2 games and then beat Bournemouth. I'm not saying how you will feel, because none of us will know how we'll feel until that moment. Do you not think there's a possibility we look back at the Everton game as being more the anomaly as opposed to the reality, if we were to win our next 3?
Of course. And listen, we're going to talk about Arsenal and Chelsea at some point today. And listen, when teams go down to 10 men, they can be difficult to break down. They can. And Chelsea went and scored after they went down to 10 men, just like Everton, right? Chelsea's not Everton, but that can happen. That can happen. But still, I was pretty gutted. We should have enough quality, and we were at home. But you're right. If we win the next 3 games, yes, of course, I'm going to be in fairy tale land again and think it was an anomaly. But the truth is, I've kind of lost trust now. We had the Grimsby. I don't want to go back to that. Everton felt even worse than that. This manager, up until this win against Crystal Palace, it was 12 wins in 12 months, right? That was the statistic being put out there. That's scary reading. It's scary reading. Listen, I've gone past the Amorim in and out. You've seen my views on this, guys. I fully believe the hierarchy are following the Arteta blueprint. We're not going to go down that avenue again. But I don't think they'll ever get rid of this manager unless he finishes in the bottom half. So if he finishes in the top half this season, I think he keeps his job till next season. So I'm kind of just going with the win now and trying to be stable with my emotions, because I really don't know what to expect from this manager, from this team anymore.
I do hear you. Again, I'm not even defending Amorim, because if we sacked him tomorrow, I wouldn't go, oh my God, what are we doing? I'm in that space. But of those Premier League wins, those 12 you're talking about, 6 have come this season. So in terms of, if people want to be objective, we have improved this year compared to last year. There is no shadow of a doubt. But for me, but equally, I'm not turning around to anyone that was Amorim out for ages and going, you change your mind, because it's whether or not those improvements, one, can be sustained and can you grow upon that. But equally, I love this comment that came through. I do agree. It says that the system has allowed player responsibility to be minimized. And listen, I'm not going to quote Sir Alex. I'm not going to quote Sir Matt Busby. I'm going to quote one of our biggest ops ever in Manchester, and that's Pep Guardiola. The system gets the ball to the edge of the box, and then it's up to the players to do their job. And that's not quite the quote from Pep. He said it in a different way, but it's what he said. And I do agree. And equally, I think the system could be better. We need to make more adjustments. There's things that we do wrong. But I don't want moments of brilliance. Stand on what I've been saying. I want more moments of brilliance. I want more players. And not every moment of brilliance, by the way, is a screamer from the edge of the box. I'm talking about, I want defenders making the right decisions more often than not. Doing these things that some things are brilliant, but they're not spectacular. And I think we don't have enough players doing enough actions in a game to a high standard regularly enough. And we've had that for multiple managers. It's why we spoke about this before the show. Man United beating Palace away was the first time in 4 years we've won away in London to a team not called Fulham. Now, forget Amorim, forget Ten Hag, forget individuals. To not win in London, barring against Fulham for 4 years, is unacceptable for a club the size of Man United. We have an awful record in so many areas. We've lost so many records in the last 10 years. It's why I also look at this squad and think nowhere near the standard. How many other top six side would buy our players? How many players would get bought? That's always a good barometer. That if you're saying to a City fan you want to improve a Spurs, even if you went to Tottenham now and said, I know Spurs have got to get better, who would you buy from the Man United team? How many are genuinely getting picked?
But that's obviously got recency bias as well. All of a sudden, 4 or 5 players of ours perform and they're right back up there in conversation. You know what that's like. That happens. Baliba was in everyone's conversation. Now he gets subbed off. Like, was he been subbed off the last 2 or 3 games for Brighton? Do you see what I mean? Things can change.
He's bringing the price down.
Maybe so. Look, I mean, you spoke about Pep Guardiola. When he first came to the Premier League, everyone's saying that his system would not win the Premier League. It wouldn't work. His style of play wouldn't work. So, I mean, I had this debate with Staffy the other day in the group chat. He believes this system, I don't want to misquote him, but that's what I understood. He believes this system is not sustainable and will never win a Premier League. I'm not quite in that boat. I'm in the boat that if he gets the right players, let's see what he can produce with this system.
But this is the thing with systems. And LB, if I slightly misquote you here, correct me. I remember you saying words to the effect of, you didn't say Pep's system doesn't work, but you were one of the only City fans online that admitted your recruitment for a few years had been bad. Therefore, the quality of the squad dropped, and suddenly the Pep system wasn't working to its nth degree. He's had to adapt. He has had to adapt and change, but you're not that same purring City. I think you probably believe the same as me, LB. I don't think Pep's become a worse manager in the last 2 seasons. I just don't think your squad is as strong. And so I think there's a happy medium in these conversations. I don't completely disagree with Staffy. And I think he's going to have to make adaptations. Why? Because Pep made adaptations 2 or 3 times in the Prem. Fergie adapted in the Prem. At the same time, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that a lot of the games that we've lost or a lot of moments in games that have gone wrong haven't been down to players not being good enough as well. I'm focusing, for me, on both problems at the same time, rather than just focusing on one of them and hyper-focusing on one of them. They're both an issue for me. And I think it's important for Man United fans, if we really care about the club, to look at multiple issues, not just the manager or one at a time. I've actually had United fans say to me in my DMs, Terry, I can't believe you want the club to buy more players for Amorim. I'm like, no, I want the squad to be better, period. Like, imagine we pass up the opportunity on signing Elliot Anderson because the board go, oh no, the fans will be upset that Amorim got a new player. It's stupid thoughts. Like, stop thinking dumb.
But I do get that. I do get that point of view as well, because he hasn't. Do you trust him fully? If it was your money, Terry, could you trust him with that money?
But why? But why are Manchester United letting Amorim make the signings?
Because of his system, LB. They have to be fully invested in this system, and I understand that it's a system that breaks the mold, and I support that. You can't just come and copy Pep Guardiola like a lot of people have.
But then they need to sack him and get a new manager, don't they?
But they're also not doing that. If you actually read what Jason Walcott spoke about this on many occasions, and KJ actually has listened to this stuff more than I have, but they've openly stated they're not just buying players that play 3 at the back. They're buying players that are multifaceted in that regard. So if you look at Mbumo, we know he can play. He can go back out to the right. Cunha can go out to the left or play where he wants to be. Are you telling me let's say we bought Baliba and Anderson, are we saying they can only work in a 3 at the back four in the midfield situation. Of course, they'd work in a 4-3-3. So for me, it's when you're a quality player, I think you've got the ability to adapt to a certain degree. Certain individuals are specialists. Someone like a Paulinho at Spurs, he breaks up play, wins the ball back, he knocks it off. He's never going to be able to control a midfield and be like a Rodri. But then you wouldn't buy him to do that job. At the end of the day, I just don't think it matters that much. The only position that I think really changes if we go to a 4 at the back is the centre-backs. Because I think defending in a 3 for centre-backs is easier than defending in a 2. That's the rest of the jobs. I don't see them as too different, if I'm being absolutely honest with you. I think we're making too much out of the system element, and I think we put too much on it. And I wanted to touch on this here because it's a great challenge here that says, sorry, Terry, but that notion of who would this team but from your who would you buy from the team is what you think you meant is a nonsense for school kids. It isn't a real notion. Different situations in different clubs and managers. I hear that. But the point I'd make is everybody wants Elliot Anderson because we can see how good he is. Everybody wanted Mbumo because we could see how good he was. Everybody did. And when you look at Arsenal right now, who wouldn't buy Rice? Who wouldn't buy Saliba? Who wouldn't buy Gabriel? Who wouldn't buy Haaland? I'm talking about how many of our players do other clubs, big clubs, go, we want him. That's what we need to be aiming for. We need to be aiming to sign and develop players that everybody would want. Right now, most Man United players, they sign for a rival club. Everyone will go, ha! You just signed him. We don't want. And yeah, you are right. There is a jovial element to that at times, but we don't have players, by and large, that the world is looking at. That tells you something when it's the majority of your squad, where you can dislike Arsenal, you can dislike Chelsea, you can dislike City, but hand on heart, if you had the opportunity to bring a lot of their players into your club, you would take it. You wouldn't hesitate for a second. With Man United, who have we got? Mbumo, who's just joined. Cunha, who's just joined. I still think a lot of people would take Bruno. I know some don't like him, but I think many would in the right situation. Young Yoro would probably get signed. Ahmad. Who else genuinely in that whole squad would the world be going, oh, I want him? I think it's a real thing, John James. It's a real thing.
At the same time, I mean, it's all about recency as well. We're not performing. And be honest, Terry, go back to that DM that you spoke about would you give Amorim any more money? At the start of the season, I mean, we had the conversations. You expected better than this, be honest. From what he'd been given.
No, I predicted this coming. No, hang on. Individual games I've expected more in. I expected more in the Everton game as a standout case, Grimsby game. But I predicted this to come 8th. We're currently sitting 6th. We're 3 points off of Chelsea, who are a team that most think are going to challenge for the title from this point. Overall, where we are is probably slightly above expectation.
I think
doesn't mean I'm not angry with bad games that we've had, because I actually think if we'd have done better in a few games, the Everton game is a massive standout example. I still go back to Fulham away and Spurs away. I look at those 2 games and I think we should have 6 more points. But then if you had 6 more points to us, we're second in the league. And then are we really saying? Imagine we score 1 more goal against Tottenham and we beat Everton. Do we really think we're better than Chelsea and City?
I think that's a very positive way to look at it. A lot of teams have been off it this year, and I feel like our position is slightly false. You know, Liverpool, Nottingham Forest are not the same team they were last year. There's a lot of teams slightly off it. Aston Villa had a bad start. I'm not saying our position is false. But when was the last time we seen the league this close, right? A lot of teams have dropped points. Listen, you only are where you are, right? But I do feel like our position is slightly false. I don't think we've been great at all. We don't look like one of them.
I didn't use the word great.
I thought we would be. No, you're right. But as in, I thought we'd be much better with what he's been given.
But when you say what you said, though, last season at this stage, it was only 9 points that separated second and 13th last year.
Yeah, we're 2 points better off than last year. Did I read that correctly?
We're 2 points better off than they were last year. But this is these 2 games where it changes, because after 15 games last year, we were still on 19 points. We've got the potential to be on 27 points. Now, for me, 15 games into a season, having 8 points more, it is an improvement. I agree with you. I wouldn't use the word great, but I wouldn't say there's been no improvement because I think that's disingenuous. And I understand that some teams have fallen off, but Bournemouth have had a better start than they had last year. Palace have had a better start than they had last year. Yes, Forest haven't done it, but Sunderland have had a better start than they had last year. Arsenal have had a better start. City have had a better start. Newcastle is about the same now. They're catching up. So as much as 2 or 3 teams have done worse, 2 or 3 teams have done better. We are where we are. We deserve to be where we are.
Let's be honest. The next 2 games are pivotal. They're absolutely pivotal.
I agree.
And if he loses one of those, he's going to be in mega trouble. But I don't think mega trouble by the club, just mega trouble with the fans. And he's got to get good results, at least a draw and a win, I think, over the next 2 games. They're pivotal. But yeah, I've lost the in and out. I've lost. I don't know where to go with it. I am just riding whatever wave we're on with this manager, to be honest.
I do this to manage that. I just take each game as it comes. I have looked a little bit ahead for these fixtures because how easy they are on paper, but we'll see. Viewers, look, give us your thoughts, give us your opinions in that comment section below. Dan ain't here yet. We were going to move on to the Arsenal section, but I'll go into the next one first. Do you reckon this could be Thomas Frank's last game tonight?
I mean, it's possible. I watched the game against Fulham, and first half they were just horrific, man. So poor. Mistakes at the back. I watched the game against PSG. I actually didn't think they played that bad against PSG, funny enough. But then they fight, they get back in the game, and then they give a goal away for the 3rd goal. So it's like he must be tearing his hair out, man. The thing is, yeah. I don't think the manager's doing well, obviously, but I think these players, mate, are just so dead, bro. I can't lie. I think we need to be honest about these Tottenham Hotspur players, man. Do we overrate? Well, I don't, because I think they're crap. But does the general footballing community or whatever just overrate the players because they play for Tottenham and we just assume that they're better than they are? Because I'm not being funny, yeah. If you go through that team. Whole lot of mid, bro. Everywhere. Mid everywhere. Yeah. Johnson, mid. Yeah. Mid player. Bentancur, mid, bro. Yeah. The centre-back Romero, people going about this guy like he's mega. Right? If he's so mega then, yeah, why aren't Barcelona bidded for him? Why aren't Real Madrid bidded for him? Why aren't Bayern bidded for him? Why aren't City bidded for him? Why aren't Liverpool bidded for him? Why no one bid for him? If he's so good, yeah, why has no one come in for this guy? He's still at Spurs. He's been there about 7 years. Yeah, it's just I look at the team, mate, and I just think they are where I expect them to be. They play dead football, and I just think to myself, for me, I just think the players are just not very good, bro. You know what I mean? And I think people just overrate the players because they're at Tottenham Hotspur.
They're missing 2 key players, though, aren't they? Madison and Kulusevski.
Yeah,
and
of
course, I mean, not everyone's got Arsenal's world best squad, you know. And if you take out 2 players out of most squads like that. What happened? Did I say something wrong?
It was a very funny, sarcastic quip. I liked it.
Okay, just checking. Yeah. Anyway, what I'm saying is you take those 2 players out of most teams, they're going to struggle, right? I think if they had those 2 players, you would have seen a lot better performances. Things would have clicked a lot better. I understand you saying a lot of the players are mid, but I think having those 2 in the team brings everyone else up a level. And you can't deny that.
Does that give them an excuse to play the way they are? Does that give them an excuse to play terrible football and get cooked defensively?
But you spoke about momentum earlier, results, and forget performances, just get results and things will improve, build on performances thereafter. And if you had those 2 players, maybe you would have got an extra 6 points by now, and we wouldn't have fans booing Vicario. We wouldn't have the manager coming out and having to fight the fans already just because of having those 2 players in the team. It really can be a game changer all around. Momentum goes both ways.
Wait a sec, right? Madison's out for the season, though. He ain't got an ACL.
Is it that for the season?
Wow. Pretty much, yeah. It's going to be pretty much the season.
We can't just use the excuse of Madison's out with an ACL so they can just be absolutely crap and finish like 8th and play horrendous football. Yeah, they've still got to try and figure out some way of getting a result or not getting cooked or playing horrific football.
You know
what I mean?
Yeah.
The point is,
go on, sorry.
If you look at the team that they've got on the pitch, I think a lot of them are overrated, bro. Yeah, they started Archie Gray. Yeah, Richarlison, dead. Yeah, this Kolo Muani, like, what's he saying? Kudus, like, I thought he was meant to be mega hard at gassing him up and that. Like, I've not heard about him since the first couple of weeks of the season.
I think you are speaking from a Man City point of view, though,
Porro,
mate, a little bit.
Like Danso, Vicario, like, what do people expect from these players? Real talk. What do you expect then, from these players?
Yeah, but like I said, man, they're not Man City. You can't lose a Rodri. I know, but if you can afford to lose a Rodri, LB,
where do you
think
still
the
squad should be in the league?
What I'm saying is, I'll answer that. But do you agree that you can afford to lose a Rodri and compete? You can go in January or whenever.
Evidently not.
Well, in comparison to Spurs, you wouldn't be getting booed, etc., would you? You can compete in comparison to Spurs.
Where do you expect this Tottenham squad to be?
It's a good point. They finished 17th last season. How can we expect any more? But with the investment of Kudos and Simmons and Kolo Muani, I think we all expected, much like Manchester United, to be honest, we're in similar situations. We finished 15th, they finished 17th. I think we expected all of these signings to perform a little bit better than they have. I think Tottenham have expected those signings to perform a little bit better than they have. And they just haven't. They just haven't. So it's easy to now say, who's Kolo Muani? He's dead. Simmons is dead, and whoever else. You know, it's easy to do that.
I'm not saying they're dead. I'm saying they're just mid, bro. And when you buy mid players and get get these mid players, you get mid performances. Do you know what I'm saying? Why is
but you can't just go out and buy superstars. Not everyone goes out and buys superstars. Players, you sign diamonds in the rough, and they become top players. They've done it years and years and years. They're Luka Modric's, they're Berbatovs. I mean, Gareth Bale. They have signed
like over 10 years.
I understand, but they're probably still trying to do that. Right?
Right, and
but they're not being successful,
working, though, is it?
Yeah,
it's not working.
They're not being
you know
successful.
What I'm saying? They're not working. Do you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, these players are not that good. Yeah, their team is not that good. They've got players that are not that good. Everybody overrates all the players. The players are actually that good. If they were that good, realistically, this is the truth, they wouldn't be at Spurs. Facts.
So would you sack the manager then? Would you sack him based on that view? You said he might lose his job tonight. Would you agree with it?
Would I sack him?
Yeah. Based on what you're saying, probably not, right?
It's just bro, I don't know. The problem that I have with Spurs, is I don't know. The problem I've got with Spurs is I don't know what they want to be. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get the club because I feel like they have, and I've said this for a long time, they have an identity crisis. They get put in the top six conversation. Everyone goes on about them like they're this mint club, they're big club, top six, big club, but they don't act like a big club in the transfer market and go and try to get the big players. What are they? What are they, man? And I'm not trying to cook. I'm not trying to piss anyone off here. I'm just being honest. Like I've said this before, and I'm not trying to wind any Spurs.
LB,
Spurs up,
I've been thinking about this a lot this last few days, and I think you're spot on. I was calling it football club. Dysmorphia. It's not. It's Tottenham dysphoria. They have this weird Spurs fans, players, everyone. There's like a discomfort. There's a uneasy feeling of the club's self-perceived status not matching the reality of the squad quality and their actual standing in the game. And I think it's like a stick of rock. It runs through the complete center of the club, fans, players, board, managers, and it infects everything. And this is how they get it. They've got a stadium that's probably better than anybody's stadium in the world. When you look at all the mods and cons, the world's longest bar, they sell the best cheese in the world. It's crazy. It is so nice. It is so nice good. Yeah. It's amazing. I think that players go there, and this is something. But the fans are there going, hang on, we pay the highest ticket prices in the world. We have this stadium, but that's what we're served up. It should be beautiful, amazing football, but they're not one of the top teams. The players, I think, go there, and they get this sort of reception like you're joining a giant club, but actually you need to. You as a player are still only slightly above the Brentford type of level, but then they're not prepared to put the hard graft in that those smaller clubs have to because they think they're at a bigger club. And this is what happens when you've got an identity crisis. You don't really know what it's like to identify as the other thing in reality. And it's just the truth. You can do things that project what it's like to be that person. You see this sometimes when people act and they try and play a Cockney on TV. And I'm from the East End of London, and you can tell when they're acting it and when they're really from the area, or if they've actually done their research and understand what it's like to be from there. They just get it so wrong. And I think they think that, we're at Spurs. We've made it. We don't need to work as hard anymore. No, The reason that City was so good and Liverpool was so good and United was so good is because they actually probably work harder than the smaller teams, but they've got more quality. You haven't got the quality, you don't work as hard. They've got a dysphoria here. And until they fix that... Harsh. Nah, I don't. My dad... By the way, do you know who tells me this the most? My dad. He's Tottenham. He said that my dad stopped talking to some of his old Tottenham mates about football. Because he went, I can't. Because they really think... they think we're Real Madrid. They think we're Real Madrid.
Breaking the ceiling in any industry, trying to get in with the big boys when you're on the cusp is very difficult. And they tried to get in Mbumo, but Mbumo chose United. They tried to get Eze. We know the story there. So they are trying. They are trying.
But why don't
let's be honest. If they had signed Mbumo, LB, Terry, if they had signed Eze, we could be having a different conversation.
Yeah,
it's not like they didn't try.
We're not having a conversation
because it's tough to break in. It's tough
I guess,
to break
so
the
what
food
do they have to do then? What do they have to do?
They have to win something major.
No, they don't. They have to get the checkbook out and pay players over the odds.
How do they do that? How do they do that?
You get a check and say, Mbumo, how much United paying you? Or 250k. We'll pay you 350k.
But how do you write the check if you ain't got the dough, bruv? Like, if you can teach me, if you can teach me how to do that, bro, I'll buy a brigade tomorrow.
They make the most money in the Prem.
Oh, mate, do you think Tottenham can?
They've got the lowest squad. They've got the lowest wages, in terms of wages to revenue in the Premier League. Like, everyone on the mainstream media, goes, look at how much money. They're the best run club in the country. They've got the money to spend. They don't want to spend.
That's why they've been able to build a stadium. That's why they've been able to do that.
Great,
but let me ask this question, Terry. Who's in charge of that now? Daniel Levy's left, right? He's not.
It was
not there now.
Enoch run the football club. That's the ownership. It's a group.
And is there a person that has gone into the mold of a Daniel Levy that's going to make these decisions?
I don't know the name of the top of my head. No.
Okay, fine. Look, I'm just saying. I think both of you are being a little bit harsh. You've got the Man City and the Man United hat on. We're top of the food chain. Even now, Man United can attract players ahead of Tottenham, right? No matter what happens.
But you've said one thing, right? And it actually, I feel like it reinforces my point more. They are trying to break into that group. But they're doing something which, again, a London phrase was used a lot. I'm sure they use it in other places. It's like they're trying to fake it before they make it. But at the elite end of anything in life, you get exposed when you do that. And what I mean by that is I see players go to their club and they don't want to work as hard anymore. The fans, it's like, but we've got the stadium. We've spent 400 million. I now expect to see what I saw peak Pep City do, peak United do. They don't realize what the foundations were to build to that. They don't understand. The players don't seem to understand how hard you've got to work. You don't go to a bigger club with those surroundings and get to work less hard, train less hard. In fact, I think when you move to a bigger club, you work harder.
You got to go up a level. Yeah.
Everything goes up a level. And I'm not saying the fans are wrong to demand it, but I think there is this disconnect that they too often they think they're there when they're not. So their expectations are up there, and then they see what's delivered and go, what the fuck's this? I didn't think we were at this level. But you were, my friend. And there's a lot of delusion at that club. A lot of delusion.
But don't we all agree, black and white, if they had signed Eze and Mbumo, would they be in this situation? Would they be better off?
They'd probably be better off.
They'd be better off. But but
is it their fault they didn't sign them? Is it? I think they would have offered enough money.
Why didn't they pay more money?
So you think if they had paid more money and Mbumo would have chose Tottenham and Eze would have chose Tottenham? Be honest here, guys.
Right, when City got bought, how you think we got Robinho through the door? How you think we got Tevez
He thought he was coming to Man United.
Yaya Toure through the door? How you think we got David Silva through the door? Do you think the lads at City went, oh, David, come on, Manchester, beautiful play. We'll pay you exactly the same as Barcelona will pay you. No, they went, listen, there's only one way of getting these players at Manchester City right now. And we've got to pay over the odds, bro. So we overpaid for everybody. Eventually, what happens is you become an elite level club and players actually just want to join you, not for money, because they actually want to play for your football club.
But maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Are Spurs capable of doing what Man City did? money-wise? You guys tell me.
Money. Yes, they make loads
They're
of
capable.
money, bro.
They're capable of doing that.
Yes. Bro,
I've never,
Terry knows about the revenues, yeah? Because I know he's done that FFP videos and before. Spurs make loads of money on revenue. Loads.
Do you think they're capable, Terry, of doing that? Just splashing over the odds, persuading players by overpaying for them?
Yes, of course they are.
Yes. You think Tottenham could turn around next summer, do a Chelsea, do a Man City, and monopoly the league? Yeah, you think they could do that?
Fine. I wouldn't say monopolize the league. No one has a financial monopoly of the money in England.
Yeah.
But they have. I'll go and get the numbers again. I haven't looked at these numbers for a while, but let me go and find these numbers for you.
So why haven't they done it?
Why? Because that's their decision. They've decided not to do it. They have spent money, but it's, again, don't think transfer fees. Think salary. Salary is the most important component in this. But to give you an idea, though, of the size, Spurs now have they're the ninth highest income in football. Out of all football clubs. The last season was 616 million. The year before that was 634. They're now in the that was without Champions League football. They're now back in the Champions League, so that should push them nearer the 700 million plus mark. So them being in the Champions League will push them above Arsenal and very close to Barcelona's income. The fact is their wage bill was a lot lower as well than those football clubs.
So that means they've got even more room then to spend.
So they're in a very, very good place when it comes to, so they're only spending around 42% of their income currently. Now the new rules have changed too. And this gives all clubs, if you're in Europe, it's a little different because you've got FFP, but you can spend 75% of your income now on players. That includes salary, transfers, agent fees. They could spend a lot of money. I think where they need to spend more of their money is with the agents and with the salaries to convince the better players to come. They can do it. But at the same time, listen, I always put this on owners more than it's not the fans' fault they feel the way they feel. And to a degree, it isn't even the players' fault that they come in and think they've made it. And, well, we're at this big club. We don't have to work hard anymore. It all stems from ownership. And there's a great story that Hugo Lloris tells. And this is just one of many. They got to a Champions League final. Liverpool wouldn't do this. City wouldn't do it. United wouldn't do it. Every player got bought a watch that said, congratulations for making the final. And Hugo Lloris got on record, I'm paraphrasing, but on record said, it felt like it didn't matter if we won. Where I put this sometimes on the fans, we were out, me, Neeks, big up Neeks if you're watching. Who else was there that day? Adam Charles, we were previewing the Champions League final. We're outside the stadium. And we maybe spoke to like 10 Spurs fans. And it was, how much do you want to win the final? Every one of them said the same thing. I'm just don't care. So happy to be going. That is a mentality issue that stems the ownership of buying watches for being in the final. There are some fans that would have wanted to. I'm not saying every fan, but there is a big percentage. They had a protest to protest their owners out, and 40 people in a banjo turned up. Like they are very, generally speaking, as long as the football, this is two things that will make all Spurs fans happy. A bit of pretty football and being above Arsenal, and they'll never moan. And until
also just disillusioned though, Terry, though, with the owners and that. So they probably think, what's the point in turning up? Yeah. At the end of the day, something's got to change at Tottenham Hotspur, mate, because what they've been doing over the last decade is not working. They can't shop at the same shop as the big clubs because they're not prepared to pay the money and they're not prepared to pay over the odds. So then they end up with players that none of us would sign, like Richarlison, like Solanke, like Brennan Johnson. These players are not good enough to win you major honours. So why are you signing them? They need to change strategy. So this is why I go back to it and say, I think they're in an identity crisis because, you know, they're put up as like this big club and that. And obviously they are a big football club, but the way they run the club is not the same as how big clubs run it. They run it like just some weird. They'd be better off, doing like what Brighton do, bro, and going to like the French League 2, looking for some top techie baller who's like 22 and go, oh, this guy, no one knows about this guy, bringing him in for like 10 mil. He turns out to be the next Mahrez or some shit like that. Instead, what they do, they buy players for big money like Solanke, who's not good enough. So you've wasted money. You did it with Richarlison. You spent 120 million quid on Richarlison and Solanke. Neither of them are good. What are they going to do for you, mate?
Yeah, I agree. And where Spurs were at an advantage a few years ago is the expectation from their fans isn't like a Liverpool or a Man United. You could buy that Belieber, that Caicedo, and then you have the revenue and income. So as he gets better, you don't need to sell him for profit. You just keep paying him more.
Yeah,
I get why the Brighton sell. Their model is to sell so they generate the revenues. Otherwise, they could never compete, even with Premier League TV money. They've got the ability to do that. Their strategy just equally. You could have bought Eze 2 years ago for the money that you spent on Brennan Johnson when nobody else was trying to buy him. Could have got at least 3 years. They had the thing is, it's bad planning. It's every level of the club's got problems, and I don't blame the fans per se. I don't blame the managers per se, the players per se. It's every level of that club. Is their biggest thing is this, and they are winners. Their biggest thing is the revenue and the value of the club is where they want it to be. That's their main priority. But this is where I do blame fans. I do the same with the Glazers. Someone says, Terry, the Glazers are only here for our money. If you give them the money, you are a Glazer. You are one of them. You can't be a vegan and a butcher at the same time. You can't. I don't think you can be a global warming activist whilst being a pilot of an aeroplane. I think there's certain jobs and movements you get, but there's certain things you can't do. You can't be anti your club owners, but because they only want your money, and then give them your money, especially if you think they're going to ruin your club. And the worst bit with Spurs is the difference between their owners and the Glazers is their own. And this may be why it feels worse for Spurs fans. Our owners have let our stadium rot, our finances suffer, and taken money out of it. Their owners have made their club beautiful, this amazing new stadium, record high revenues. But I know they won a trophy last year, but overall, they're as shit as they've ever been. And it's like, how can you be improving all those other areas, but not?
But you
the
guys
team
are telling
isn't growing with it.
You guys are telling me that they're in a great position for someone to come in with a footballing brain to go and do the purchasing, to go and spend the money. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah, but they are. But
which is not the end of the world, right? That means it's here we go, he's in.
Here he is. Finally out of Reece James's pocket.
London traffic, man. London traffic, mate. Tell you, terrible. What's happening, lads? You good? Good show.
All good. Good.
Listen, I was listening to it on the way, just bashing Tottenham. I love it, mate. Brilliant.
Yeah, I think they're being harsh. To be honest.
No way.
How are we being harsh when this football club, has won 2 trophies in 20 odd years, and they're in the Big Six?
Yeah, but it's hard to break into that, LB. You
Because
guys broke into it.
Money properly,
yeah,
bro.
but you guys broke into it because you got a takeover that spent absolute fortunes.
Oh, bro,
you
I've just told you, they have the money to spend. They don't want to spend it on the proper players,
bro. They have spent a lot of money, though, guys.
LB, they've tried, though. They've tried. They tried to get
Eze.
They tried to get Mbumo.
They tried. Bro, you're mentioning 2 players, man. Yeah, you're mentioning 2 players. Yeah, the fact is, they're buying dead players, bro. Dead players. They're buying players that are not good enough, mate. Yeah, why are they spending 30 mil on Odobert? Why are they spending 40 mil on Archie Gray?
Because they can't attract the elite players, bro.
Because they're not prepared to spend big money.
And you know, but it is all right. So they are prepared to do the money. We agreed on the salary, but even then, because they're not signing those players, the fans then can't have the expectations of achieving what a Real Madrid or a Man United at our peak or a Liverpool are doing. This is what I mean. There is this confusion of from what they want to be and what they think they are to the reality of their situation, and that disconnect is why they're so angry all the time.
Well, I said this, Terry.
It's champagne money. Champagne taste, lemonade money. And that's what they think. They go, oh, lovely sip of champagne, and it's flat lemonade.
But
that's why.
But they're spending champagne money on flat lemonade. That's the whole point, bro. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. I genuinely believe, it would be better for Tottenham Hotspur to withdraw themselves from the top 6 narrative. We're a top 6 club. We're a Big 6 club. I think being in the Big 6 piles this pressure from within and the pressure from without. If they just withdrawn themselves from the top 6 and just said, listen, we ain't that club. Newcastle are that club now. We're putting Newcastle in there.
That's never going to happen. That's basically giving up.
David, what's going to keep happening, is they're going to keep on having these internal pressures. They're going to keep on having this external pressure on the football club that they will not be able to meet. Why? Because they don't buy the players that they need to buy to meet those fucking standards.
Mm.
I think
no excuses though for the recent performances. No excuses. That performance against Fulham was abysmal, and I'm not just saying this as an Arsenal fan. It was a disgrace. If I was a Tottenham fan, I would be fuming. They conceded 5 against PSG. They conceded 4 to us. They conceded 2 at home to Fulham. They've won 1 home game in the Premier League. It is disgraceful stuff from Tottenham Hotspur. But listen, that's the sort of club they are. And their recruitment's not been good enough. They lose Harry Kane. They get Dominic Solanke. They thought he was the answer to their prayers. Not good enough. So many of their players.
Yeah.
Listen, I always stick money on Arsenal to beat Tottenham. Always have. Because it's easy money. But even more so, when I look at the team on paper, I look and go, bloody hell, look at that team. Like LB was saying, player for player, when you go through that team, I don't know why everyone thinks they're so good. Everyone, they had a few good games. Tottenham they beat Man City and everyone thinks they're going to make the top 4. They ain't making no top 5. Not at all. Nowhere near. United will finish with Spurs.
Well, I hope we do. Look, I look at it this way. I think they buy some good players. I think that they're fantastically run from a financial perspective, but they need to put more money into their salary and attract the bigger players. They need to temper their fans' expectations about where they are and how long it's going to take to get to the top. They probably need to go for. I think Frank's perfect for this squad, but I don't think the squad will. I think the players that go to Tottenham don't want to play the way of Frank, the way of Nuno, the way of Conte, the way of Jose wants to play. They think they're good enough to play more expansively, but we saw what happened when they did that. Yes, they won a trophy, but they came 17th in the league. Again, there's a disconnect, and I don't know how to fix it because I'm not in there internally. I don't have all the answers.
I'd fix it overnight, Terry. Yeah,
go on, LB.
I'd stop signing players like Brennan Johnson, like Richarlison, like Solanke. That's 200. Listen, chat. Yeah, 200 million pounds they spent on those 3 players. 200 mil. Crazy. You're telling me, yeah, that I couldn't have signed better players than that for 200 million quid? Are you joking me? This is why when people say, "Oh, you think you know better than the sport?" Yeah, I do. Because I would not have bought one of those single players, yeah, and I would have bought some techie ballers, mate, yeah. I would not have spent 200 million on those.
Do you think all those players were their first choice?
It's not as irrelevant.
That's
irrelevant, bro.
No, hold on. It's not irrelevant, though, is it?
It is irrelevant.
Because I reckon Kudos was their second choice and Mbeumo was their first. Right?
It's irrelevant,
I reckon Xavi Simons was their second choice. Eze was their first.
It's irrelevant. Don't buy players that are not good enough. If you went to the shop,
but
you
Dave,
went to buy a steak.
God,
no, David, yeah. You went to the shop to buy a steak, yeah, for your tea, and they didn't have any left, but they said, I've got some gone off chicken breast that's 3 days out of date. Would you buy it?
Simmons is not gone off chicken breast, is he? I would say Eze is ribeye T-bone, and Simmons is like braising steak that you put in a sandwich.
They could have got Eze. They could have got Eze. They were serious.
They could have got it done earlier. But I'll give you an example, though. Right? I hear your point. If you can't get a lot of your main targets, and again, expectations have got to be lowered, right? So again, the disconnect. But they got Danso and Tell in the January on loans with options to buy. Okay, I'm not sure if Danso's was an obligation. Tell's wasn't. They then, after watching Tell be stinky for 5 months, went, do you know what? We've already paid you 10 million in a loan fee. He's been stinky. Do you know what we're going to do? There's 35 million more for him to stink the place out with. Those types of decisions are unacceptable on every. This is a club, right? This is a club that spent 60 million euros on Richarlison.
It's horrific, bro. Like, this is the thing, yeah. If you
and their fans, Dave, look, their fans, what does he say? Brazil's number 9. Brazil's number 9.
Check this, yeah.
He's not bad for Brazil.
Yeah,
he's not bad for
Brazil.
Brazil.
I'm on transfer mark right now, yeah. I'm going to go through the last couple of years of transfers, right? This summer just gone. This is euros, yeah, because it's yours, isn't it? 210 million euros this summer. Last summer, 185. Summer before that, 272. Summer before that, 180. Yeah, you have to go back to 2021, 2022 when they spent 95 million. This football club, yeah, spent big cash, bro. Big cash. But, they don't spend it well.
They've spent big cash because they keep getting their second options. They're not getting their first options because other clubs higher in the food chain keep taking it. That's my opinion.
So, David, let me challenge that. I need to challenge that. So,
go on.
You think buying a player that you knowingly know isn't good enough for your football club just because you didn't get your first choice is the smart move? You think spending 60 million quid on Solanke, giving him a 5-year contract is good because you can't get your first choice?
We all know there's a list of players that people have for every given position that they want to acquire. Yeah, we agree on that, right? Yeah. If you can't get your first choice, you assume your second choice is not as good as your first choice, but you would hope it would still perform, right? You said Newcastle are next in line. That's what you said, LB, yeah?
Yes.
So you believe if Newcastle are next in line and they spend money, they're going to break into the Man Cities, the Chelseas, the Arsenal. You think they can do that much easier than Spurs have?
If they spend money, yeah.
No, Spurs have done it already.
Do you think Newcastle can get players ahead of Arsenal, ahead of Chelsea, ahead of Man United, ahead of Man City?
If they overpay, yes.
I don't think they can.
If you
I don't think
do you want to know a mad stat? Do you want to know a mad stat? Do you want to know a mad stat? Since Mikel Arteta has been the manager of Arsenal, Arsenal have only spent 35 million euros more on players as a club.
Well,
So they've both spent Spurs have spent 1.2 billion euros. Arsenal have spent 1.2. And by the way, I'm being a little disingenuous to Arteta because that 2019-20 season, only 8 million euros of that was spent on him in the January. So if you actually minus, he still utilised those players that season to win his FA Cup. The point is this, right? I don't disagree that they have to often settle for lesser players. Then how have you spent as much money as my point? If I spent, if right now, this is why United get so much shit from me.
Desperation, Terry. That's how.
But you're feeding our argument. In desperation, their club wastes money on the same money that Arsenal spent on substandard players.
But if they don't sign players,
no, hang on.
Fans will boo anyway. Fans will boo anyway.
But it's fine. They shouldn't. Right. So for me, a club owner shouldn't worry about their fans being upset about stupid things that are dumb. Okay, so for me, as much as we love our football clubs, we don't know what we don't know. I would rather my club go, do you know what, Terry? We've got 200 million to spend this summer, but our main 5 targets that are good enough, that pass the benchmark, that pass the sniff test, we can't get. I would rather move on to a different position on the pitch where we could get a top target, or sign no one and wait. Otherwise, you know what you do? Man United, in the decade after Sir Alex retired, spent more money than Man City on players. But we bought shit and we bought crap. So this is why I ever go at Tottenham. I keep the same energy for my own club. And so when you get a lot of rivals go, how come Man United fans, they're the Glazers, look how much money they've spent. That's why I'm angry. They wasted our money on shite. And that's why Spurs fans should be angry. Them and their biggest rivals since 2019 have spent almost identical money on players.
And Terry,
I don't think it's the same.
Wait. Look,
fuming, I'd be.
Let me land on this. Terry, we wasn't in the Champions League then either. They were. So
but you're Arsenal. You're Arsenal, mate.
They were reaching the Champions League final.
You've just compared Arsenal's spend with Tottenham's spend. How it's similar, yeah?
They had reached the Champions League final.
Go through 5 players that Arsenal have signed recently. Go through 5 players that Tottenham have signed recently. I guarantee you, all of those 5 players that Arsenal have signed have been their first choice, and they've got them. Tottenham, on the other hand, haven't got their first choice. Manchester United, on the other hand, they get who they want majority of the time. They're just shit at identifying players. They're even worse than Tottenham. That's the truth, yeah? But Spurs, I am backing them. But in my opinion, they're identifying the correct players. We know this from recency, yeah? Mbeumo, Eze, both have performed fantastic this season already. If they had got those 2 players, they would be better off. Rice, first choice for Arsenal. Gyökeres, you'd argue, first choice for Arsenal. Eze, first choice for Arsenal. Kudus, not first choice. Simmons, not first choice. Give me another signing that they've made. Tell. I think that was just to fill numbers. The point is, Manchester United...
5 million?
So you think that's a good deal then? You bought all that. You bought Tell just to fill squad number.
I don't know why they bought him, because he looks shocking, right?
You're advocating for Tottenham Hotspur buying players that they know are not good enough for them. Facts.
No,
I agree with LV. They're better off doing
terrible standards.
Did.
Terrible, David.
They're better off doing what Brighton did. Them sort of players going around in like exactly what LB. I was listening in the car. Them sort of teams that Brighton go over to like France or wherever, League One, and find these sort of players. They're better off doing that than going and buying a Richarlison who's had one good season in the Premier League. They get robbed. Think about it. Solanke got 19 goals one season. He'll never do that again. Because all these previous seasons, he was shocking.
His team just robbed Eze off him.
Why is it though? So let's take Arsenal out of it for a moment then. Let's take Arsenal out of it. So for a team that actually cannot spend as much as Tottenham because of FFP rules, no matter how rich their owners are, why are Newcastle signing better players? How comes Newcastle have got Bruno Guimaraes? How comes they have got Tonali? Listen, they lost Harry Kane. the greatest striker in Tottenham's history, maybe the greatest English striker of all time. They lost him. And they've replaced him with Solanke, who, for me, was a bang average player that had one good season. Should never have been bought. They bought Richarlison, and they bought somebody else, I think, maybe. But that's who they've gone and bought. How is it that Newcastle, this summer, they actually missed out Newcastle on 2 or 3 targets, okay? They missed out on Šeško, and they missed out on Hugo Ekitike.
First choice.
Yes,
first choice as
hang
well.
on. Yes.
So 2 first choices they missed out on, guys.
I would say let me finish before you put yourself in a bigger hole here, David. They then went and got Valdemada, who arguably has been the best new signing in the Premier League this season, because they identify players that meet the benchmark and pass the threshold. If they don't,
where are Newcastle in the Prem? Where are Newcastle?
Okay. But also
Help
this.
me out,
We
just
also
tell me.
know. Hang on a minute. But they have started the season slowly. But if you've actually watched Newcastle play, they've been unlucky in quite a few games where they haven't won. Hang on, no, but hang on. But this is where, David, you're going to do yourself here, because you're someone who's spoken many times on this show about how performances sometimes matter more than the wins when it comes to the trajectory of a football club, and they've been good. They just had a few issues at the beginning of the season, but their performances have been good. But we're not just talking about Spurs this season, are we? We're talking about Spurs overall. If you look at the last 3 to 4 years, you look at Newcastle's growth versus the stagnation and decline of Spurs. If a club the size of Newcastle, with their income, can grow steadily, of course there's going to be some dips in that, because growth isn't linear, then Spurs can do it. But their issue is they have spent 1.2 billion euros, and I would say $1 billion of that, maybe 900 million of that, has been on players that are nowhere near good enough for the Premier League, let alone Tottenham, where Newcastle buy in a very precise way. They buy quality, and overall they have improved their squad steadily over a 4 or 5 year period.
Yeah, but Newcastle have done that. Newcastle have done that Newcastle have done that just to get into the conversation with Spurs. Yeah, LB is saying the next in line is Newcastle. They've done fantastic to get to that point, but now to break that ceiling, which is what Spurs have been trying to do, guys. Yeah, don't act like Newcastle have broken that ceiling. No, they've gotten into the conversation.
Newcastle will win the money. The only thing that's stopping Newcastle, the only thing that has stopped Newcastle from pushing on further,
their first choice transfers. That's what's stopping Newcastle.
No, but that's not. No, that isn't what stopped them. You're wrong. What has stopped Newcastle is they're a much smaller club. Their revenues are only around the 300 to 400 million mark. So they literally cannot spend what Tottenham, Arsenal, Man United spend yet. The only thing holding them back is growing their revenues. If tomorrow FFP disappeared and their owners could spend what they wanted, it would be bang, 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 stars coming in to help that tomorrow. It's there is a mixture of these things. Let's go to some super chats here. This one says, look at Aston Villa. Yeah, look, a slow start to the season, but again, overall, spent less than Tottenham, identified the right talent, brought the right manager in. But do you know what happened when Unai come into their club? Their players weren't sitting there going, I'm at Aston Villa. I ain't doing the dog work Unai Emery wants. They work hard for their club. They don't have dysphoria. David has a bad case of Spursiitis.
Again, I just think you guys are being harsh.
You wouldn't be defending Arsenal, would you? Like this, bloody hell.
Never in my life, mate.
Arsenal built themselves back from mediocrity and unable to sign big players. An intelligent recruitment plan for players and managers is what's needed. Agreed.
Vamos.
Should City sack Pep if he finishes trophyless again?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on. Are we finishing that 6th? Like, what is this? I need more context.
Yeah.
Are we finishing 8th? Are we finishing 10th? Are we finishing 17th?
I think he resigns. I think he resigns if you finish outside the top 4 and don't win a trophy this year. But
you know what I find crazy? His understudies are the ones that are in the title race. You know, which is credit to him. Right?
They're all doing unbelievable. Xavi Alonso is another one. Anyone who's worked with him are doing fantastic.
Very good. That Europa League win was a curse. It gave them a false sense of hope, and now Spurs might drop deeper. There is a bit of truth to that as well, isn't it? Like back in the Champions League, the money. Yeah, listen, they never want to take it away though. Well, I have a couple of hot takes from the audience that I want to speak on. So we do Chelsea or Arsenal first? Well, we do Chelsea. I want to do Chelsea for LB. This would be a good one. This one here, we posted this earlier today on our homepage, and people wrote their comments on it. So this one here says, Chelsea prove they are on Arsenal's level. When they bottle it, we will be waiting to pounce.
I tell you whose level they're on, Terry. They're on Aston Villa's level because they're on the same points as Aston Villa.
It's all right. Breathe, Dan. Breathe, Dan, man. Breathe.
It's,
Take a
team in the
second,
world.
man. Take a second, mate.
Yeah,
It's
they're
true though,
not
isn't
on Arsenal's level. They're not on Arsenal's level. They played well against Arsenal. Very well. And
Very well. 0.9 XG. I don't think they played very well.
Stuff, bro. Come on, man.
I don't think they played. No, listen. They played okay. They did not play very well.
It's short,
For
man.
a team with
They had 10 men for an hour, and they were better than you, who's the best team in the world.
For a team with 10 men, they played quite well, but they did not play like.
They played well, bro. Stop it, man. They played well.
I don't think they played well. I think they played okay.
So how come you not beat them then? If they didn't play well, yeah, and you had 10 men for an hour, how come you didn't win the game?
Because we were poor. That was one of our poorest performances of the season.
I thought you were the best team in the world that's going to win the quad.
Well, I never said. I said we could win the quad.
Oh,
we could.
So the best team in the world that could win the quad can't beat a team with 10 men.
You can. No way. You can say I said we could win the quad.
Right. So my question is, how is the best team in the world that could win the quad can't beat a team with 10 men for an hour?
Because any team can have a poor game, and we had a poor game. We just beat the best team on paper in Europe 3-1. We just beat Spurs. They had an extra day's rest.
You can't beat Chelsea, who didn't play well. We had 10 men for an hour.
Yeah, because that happens in football sometimes. You're not going to win every single game.
Show me a team.
Show me a team in the Premier League that's won every single game.
You're the best team in the world.
You know what's funny? This is Dan right now.
I don't get nervous, but I'm starting to get a bit shaky, you know? I mean, I'm a little bit weak.
Nah, not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
They did play well though, Chelsea. I mean, especially when they went down that they really hustled you in the first sort of 30-40 minutes. Went down to 10 men. They barring one chance you scored from, they nullified you. I mean, so are you saying that it wasn't them that blunted you? You just had a bad day. It wasn't really about Chelsea.
Well, no, look, Chelsea around the pitch they were good, right? Like you said, they nullified us. I thought Reece James was fantastic, probably the best player on the pitch. However, this notion that they were so great, they weren't. They're the home side. I know they
By the way, just quickly, I said they played well, bro. I said they played well.
Okay. But a lot of people would say that well, look, I think they played okay. This notion that they played.
So they played okay, but they didn't play well. Okay, I got it.
So, yeah, that's exactly what I think. Do you know what? I'd say they played well for a team with 10 men. That's what I would say.
What are you doing, bro? Why are you arguing with me? And then you basically agree with what I'm saying.
No. They played well for a team with 10 men, I suppose. But I can't remember them having any chances in the game.
They did have
the goal they got from a set piece. They didn't really have any chances.
From like 10 yards out.
That's another thing. Esteval's meant, I was waiting to see. I watched it live. I was at Stamford Bridge. I'm waiting to see this Brazilian Messi. All I saw was a guy skying the ball every time he got a chance.
Yeah.
He's got one league goal. Listen, look, he looks like he's going to be a fantastic player, but let's not start overhyping these players like everyone does straight away. People telling me he's better
like
than Saka.
You do with Arsenal players.
They need to chill.
Like you
what
do
Arsenal players though? But these Arsenal players, these Arsenal players, they've been in teams of the seasons. They've been good for the last few years, haven't they? These Arsenal players.
And
you can't deny that these Arsenal players are not top players. Yeah, that's all changing this season, though. Isn't it? So it's all good.
Listen, if you want a non-biased view,
you're getting cooked.
If you want a non-biased view, guys, if you want a non-biased view, I wouldn't say Chelsea are on the same level as Arsenal. Yeah. But I'd argue Maresca's looking good. He's learning from his mistakes. He made that. He shit the bed, didn't he, against Man United when he went down to 10 men, and this time against Arsenal, he learned from his mistakes. I mean, Maresca's looking on par with Arteta in regards to managerial decisions. I don't know, man. I'd say managers are on par, but squads, not quite. But listen, I thought that was a great performance from Chelsea. Yes, they are at home. The onus is on them to win at home. It's not Arsenal's fault. Caicedo almost snapped one of their players' legs. You know what I mean? That's not Arsenal's fault. And like I said earlier, when people go down to 10 men, they can be tough to beat. I wouldn't say they're on par, but Maresca's looking good. Yeah, exactly. I did say that earlier. If you were here. But listen, I think Maresca's looking good. He's learning from his mistakes. And listen, if I was Arsenal, I'd be very, very worried. I would.
I rate Maresca, but yeah, I'm not worried about Chelsea. I think Chelsea could be there up until they're in it right now. There's 6 points. Then Aston Villa are in it too, aren't they? And we play Aston Villa on Saturday. So, if Chelsea are in it, Aston Villa are in it. So, but come to game week 31, 32, I don't see Chelsea being there. Simple as that.
Same.
And I think they could be up there right up until then, but I don't think they'll be there then. I think the only team I'm looking at now is still Manchester City. You know, I'm still looking at Man City's games, watching their games more closely than I watch Chelsea's. And listen, that could all change, but at the moment, it's Man City that I'm more worried about.
Yeah,
than Chelsea.
I'm with you, bro. I think Chelsea won't be there come the end. Come like 7 games left of the season. Don't see it. I think Chelsea needed to win that game to really sort of like
100%. That's my point as well. They needed to win to cut it down. We kept it the same, 6 points. And we're playing at Stamford Bridge after a long week, after just putting 4 past Spurs, playing Bayern Munich. And like
a long week. Chill out with all that, Dan.
What do you mean it is though? Can you imagine? No, listen.
You thought you was going to steamroll Chelsea. Now it's a long week.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine what the players have been through playing them 2 big games, a North London derby, and then playing Bayern Munich? That's a big week. Overall,
poor fellas for the best squad in the world.
This has been a great week for Arsenal Football Club. I'll tell you that now.
Ultimately, you guys have done well. Beat Spurs, beat Bayern Munich, draw with Chelsea. That's great going. But a lot of Arsenal fans were thinking we're just going to sweep Chelsea aside, no problem. And you didn't. And they had 10 men. So, you know, there's an argument to both sides.
I have to say, though, I was walking to the stadium, though. When I found out Saliba weren't in the team, I was a lot less confidence. And a lot less confident. And if
the thing is, though, the draw is, I think, in the league context, obviously in the actual game context, Chelsea getting a point with 10 men for an hour is good.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the actual Premier League trophy, I think Arsenal will be happier with the point in terms of than Chelsea, because Chelsea, the onus was on Chelsea to win that game. They was at home to cut the gap.
They lost their heads.
And they didn't do it. So even though, yes, Chelsea played well, they did play well before you start saying they didn't. And when they went down to 10 men, like they showed a lot of maturity in the way they played with 10 men for an hour. And I did think they played really well with 10 men. And they can come away from the game being proud and happy with the performance. Fundamentally, that was a bad result in terms of actually trying to win the title. That's just a fact.
I agree. Dan, if someone said to you, Caicedo is going to get sent off because, you know, for a bad challenge and you're going to be facing a 10-man Chelsea, you'd have taken that before the game and said, we're going to smash them. You would have, wouldn't you?
100%. But what happened was they scored from a set piece on the 47th minute in the second minute of the second half, which changes everything. Yeah, exactly. It changes everything. It changes the whole perception of the game. And then the main thing you want to do then is not lose the game. And we've got a point out of it. And I don't know why there was only 4 minutes added on, because that was crazy. That was disgraceful. There should have been. We were thinking it could be 10, and there was 4 minutes added on. Yeah, that was
not doing that, bro.
I couldn't believe that.
You was bad.
Yeah, listen, we were bad, but listen, if there was another few minutes in that game, I think we would have scored.
Do you know what one of my biggest takeaways of the whole thing was? It was the group of Arsenal fans before the game and the group of Chelsea fans before the game that did, and there was on both sides, because the only thing I was gutted about is I collated all the tweets and I needed one of them to lose so I could do the montage of it, and they drew so it doesn't bang the same way. But there was a big group and a big group with loads of followers on both sides that were like, we're going to smoke Arsenal, we're going to smoke Chelsea, and I thought both groups were just fucking stupid. This was never going to be an easy game for Arsenal. Chelsea is so much better than people give them credit for. I think they are in the title race. I don't think they win it, but I think they're in the title race. And the only thing I've really challenged around Chelsea in recent days have been mine and Don's debates. And Don still doesn't understand where I'm coming from. I'm fine with him saying that Arsenal and Chelsea are this far apart, but then the expectations on Chelsea have got to be similar to that of Arsenal because they're that far apart. You can't have an expectation here and an expectation there, but then say the teams are at the same level. This doesn't make sense to me personally, but I think Chelsea proved that to a lot of people what they can and can't be. The only player, and I get why Chelsea fans are defending him. I saw Carefree Lewis, I think, tweet this, and I just thought, oh, that's some support that I liked it. Although it's a complete lie. It was like, I'm so glad Caicedo is going to get 3 games rest. It's such a good thing for the team that he's out. And it's like, but I kind of like seeing fans protect their own. That actually showed you how happy they are with their team. I think it's shown. The point. I actually think Chelsea are going to come second in the league after watching that. Now, I've made my mind up. I think Chelsea comes second in the Prem this year. I think they'll prove to be better than City over the course of the season. They just
Terry,
can't win.
Can I say something? Terry, they celebrated going from second to third. Now that is shocking.
No,
that's how they did. They did.
So you're doing standards FC now. What they celebrated was a team. No, they didn't celebrate going from second to third. They celebrated because they went down to 10 men twice earlier on this season, at home against Brighton and away against Man United, and absolutely looked shocking. It isn't a cliche; it's the truth. Quite often, playing against 10 men becomes a harder thing to do when you're a good and well-drilled team. But what they did in those two matches was capitulate. And the only reason Man United didn't batter them 3 or 4-0 is because Casemiro got sent off. They threw away a lead away at home against Brighton, and Brighton just battered them for the next 40 minutes and won the game. 3-1? I think what they were celebrating, and I can only speak based on what I saw, is the fact that they showed the great grit and determination. They didn't collapse. And I think they've proven to themselves, well, if we can defend like this with 10 men, we can see out some games easier with 11 men. I think they saw some growth in that rather than the league position change. I think they saw growth in that moment rather than the energy. What you're doing is what Arteta outers do, and standard FC guys. Like, I'm surprised to hear that from you, Dan. I don't mind it from them. That's their mantra. You're doing like the whole standards thing, bro. What's wrong with you?
No, listen.
You
they're the one that says that they're world champions. And they've got the best team and the best players. They've got all the best players that are world champions. They've all been saying they were going to beat us. They do say that. Every single Chelsea
No, they don't, bro. Listen, I've got beef with Chelsea fans, but they don't come on and say they've got the best team in the league, do they?
They do. Well, Don does.
Don't, bro.
Yeah, they do.
Listen, don't use. I love Don. Don's my guy, but don't use Don as a barometer.
Listen, I've got Chelsea mates, and they all
don't
say
judge all Arsenal fans based on you, Dan. Are you the same? Are you the same as Aaron?
Of course, hell no.
Well, there we go. You're both Arsenal fans, though.
Yeah, I know. I'm just going by what I see online and stuff with a lot of Chelsea fans. Look, I just don't think Chelsea. I thought it was over the top the way they were celebrating at the end. That's just the way I see it.
Yeah, but I think they heard the narrative from fans like yourself saying that you were going to smoke them, you're going to smash them.
But like Terry said, they were saying they were going to smoke us as well.
I don't know.
And at the end of the day, they went from second to third. It was like LB said, the onus was on them. They had to win that game, really. You know, we had to win it to kill them off, yes, but they had to win it if they really wanted to make that statement. And
that's draw for you now, though, isn't it? Draw in the Prem.
We will not.
How do you feel about that?
We will not know until May whether it's a good point or 2 points drop.
How do you feel about draw at the moment for Arsenal in the Prem?
How do I feel about draw? I just feel like we need to win our next game on Wednesday night. Simple as that. Must win.
You don't feel like wheels are coming off or things are changed or anything like that? The injuries are catching up?
No, listen, the injuries are very concerning. Of course they are, especially now without Saliba. I'm praying that he's back Wednesday night.
It was Saliba, your manager said today, I read the notes in the press conference that Saliba and Trossard are back to training in the next day or so. So they're probably going to miss this midweek game, but they're back for Aston Villa. Yeah,
then we should be fine. And do you know what? I think Leeds will beat Chelsea tomorrow night.
Well, I mean, that would be the worst thing for Chelsea. If we just end the Chelsea segment before I ask David a question. If Chelsea was to go and lose to Leeds, then I think it's a bit like United. If we go and lose to West Ham on Thursday, it makes that really good win away at Crystal Palace. By the way, Palace have only lost once in a calendar year at the home ground. Yeah. It erases it for me. You feel like, well, what was the point of that? Yeah. And then losing the easier game. Chelsea now need to go and cement that second half performance with a win. And put a bit of pressure on Arsenal. Keep that pressure up, and that's what City have got to do tonight. Keep that pressure on Arsenal. But David, do you think the wheels are falling off at Arsenal because you asked the question, or are you just winding your mate up?
No, I'm just winding him up. The truth, I'm just winding him up. The truth is that's a good result for them. I didn't think it was going to be a walk in the park, but they obviously got gassed with their Spurs performance, their Bayern Munich performance. And listen, if I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be gassed too. So this is me not being biased, right?
My prediction was actually a 1-0 Arsenal win. That's what I went for.
Oh, I'm not sure, mate. I'm not
sure.
It
is. You can watch it. It's on my Instagram, mate.
I saw it, but that was when you were heading to the stadium because you obviously felt the vibe. But before then, I know you were thinking 3-4-0. Don't lie, Dan.
No, not 3-4-0
already, mate.
Not 3-4-0. Yeah. I'm planning the parade, but not 3-4-0 against Chelsea away, bro. No,
listen, it's a good result for Arsenal. They move on. They probably beat Brentford next. That's who they have. And then is it Aston Villa?
Yeah, Aston Villa, which is obviously
if they win those two games, it's business as usual, right? I don't think
there was Dave, I saw you in the comments on someone's channel earlier, and he was saying He was saying we won't be top by Christmas, and I thought we would literally have to lose our next 3 games, or draw 2 and lose 1 out of our next 4 to not be top.
I was
Our
shocked
games-
that they said that. I was
Who
shocked
said
that they
that?
said
Who
that.
said that?
Shane, is it Shane?
I don't know who
Shane.
that is.
Anyway,
Yeah.
he said that Arteta usually shits the bed around December, January. That was
And
his
if you,
response.
and
I was shocked by that. I was shocked.
LB, what do you think of that? Obviously, you're one in the chasing pack. Have you seen these signs that Arsenal and Arteta could shit the bed and the wheels fall off?
Nah. not really. I actually think that Arsenal fans had the right to be confident and a bit cocky going into that Chelsea game, given how they were playing and they're given the results.
Yeah.
And yes, they didn't play well against Chelsea. They were pretty poor, but it's a one-off game. The result is neither here nor there. So, personally, I ain't really seen.
Wait, Dave, our next games, the 4 games, we'd have to lose 2 and draw 1 to not be top, right?
Yeah. But
Or
is that a
lose 2.
thing?
Let's
Is
say
that a
lose
thing?
2.
Does Arteta lose games around Christmas?
Villa, Brentford, Wolves, and Everton. But of course, we won't be top at Christmas, will we?
4 losses
Nonsense.
incoming there, Dan. 4 losses incoming there, mate.
Oh, is Shane? I don't know. Maybe I know him if I saw his face. Right? Is he an Arsenal fan who said that?
Yeah.
By the way, I think both sets of fans, and one thing Lou and Mama Flossie in the comments were talking about, fans, listen, you get stick when you get it wrong, but there was no reason for Chelsea and Arsenal fans to not be confident going into this game.
Totally.
I thought it was wrong to say you'd smoke each other, but I got why some Chelsea fans were in and got, I think we can win today, 2-0, 2-1, beat them. I thought I got why Arsenal fans said it. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. For me, we need more of it. Exactly, like absolutely fine.
Listen, Caicedo got a red card, but fair play to him. He understood the assignment. You don't want to see anyone get hurt. But that's what these games used to be like, right? In the 90s, this is what we loved, like players clashing.
It was an old school game, I tell you that.
It was, and
was
that's what we want.
LB don't remember that. LB was in League Two. He doesn't know.
The game on Sunday was like a League Two match at times. But I actually did enjoy the game, man. I actually did enjoy it. I thought it was good. It was. I'm glad that the red card didn't ruin it, and Chelsea was still in it and played decent, because I thought when that red card happened, I thought, oh, here we go. It's just going to be Arsenal just doing nothing for 60 minutes, which, to be fair, they didn't do a lot. But I enjoyed it, man. It was a good game. But yeah, it doesn't change anything, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, it just doesn't change anything in terms of my views, in terms of Chelsea not good enough to win the league, and Arsenal, it's a point, they move on, still 5 points clear of City, 6 Chelsea, they'll take it. So, but yeah, Chelsea, whoever said that comment on the thing, whatever you call it, is Chelsea ain't on the same level as Arsenal.
This is Chelsea are dark horses. They are kind of team that Arsenal was. If Arsenal or City slip up, Chelsea team could do it. Look, Chelsea could win the league if Arsenal's levels drop. That's the way I view this. Like, Arsenal have got to become Arsenal. This you've got to look at the points they're tracking towards. Arsenal are tracking towards 87 points. The team.
What is this tracking nonsense?
What do you not? It's points per game. What they're currently getting. Why would you ignore the points per game a team's earning? Why is that nonsense?
Because it's tracking. I mean, I'm tracking to get it. I mean, come on, man.
You're a personal trainer. You literally do tracking in your job.
Yeah. This is like predicting. Like, it's not for sure. It's not for sure, is it?
Hang on. But wait a second. Yeah, if you're doing bench press, and like every week you're going up and you say, right, tracking here by the end of the year to hit this number, right? But then you could get an injury which throws off.
Exactly.
That's it. But he didn't. Yeah, but he said they're tracking.
The point I'm making is
someone said in the chat, Terry, it's 90s. Is it?
Yeah, see what I mean? The tracking stuff. It's not set in stone.
Who said it was? Who said it was?
I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying it's not worth saying it, because Dave, look at him there. Look at his face.
Welcome to YouTube, mate.
David, it is worth saying, because what it's based on how they're performing. So, for instance,
at the moment.
Yes. Can I just call something out? Yeah, if one of your clients came to you, David, and said, "Listen, mate, I'm tracking within 6 months the way I'm going to lose £20, and I'm going to be ripped," would you turn around to them and say, "Oh, that's a load of BS, because you could go Macca's and KFC and scran a load of food and it all just goes off and you come obese and shit"?
What I would say to them is, have you ever been ripped before? And if their answer was no, then I'd
No, you wouldn't.
Let me finish. Let me finish.
Arsenal won the league before. End of.
Let me finish. Okay, let me rephrase that. When was the last time you got ripped? Oh, you were 12. wait. The way you're tracking 6 months, that's probably a little bit.
But do you know the difference there is this though? If Arsenal keep performing the way they are, this is where what you say doesn't make any sense, David. You've just said there's no signs the wheels are falling off.
No.
What they're tracking towards is bullshit. So you must think the wheels are going to fall off.
I'm just asking, what's this tracking nonsense? Because I've never heard about it before.
Isn't nonsense. It's never
been
been
a points average, Dave. The points.
I know what it means, Dan.
Carried on.
I know what it means, Dan. But
sounds like you don't.
Why is it nonsense?
Because they could get another 4 injuries tomorrow, and they're tracking to nothing, bruv.
And then, no. What would then happen is if they got the 4 injuries and their performances start to dwindle, then their tracking goes down.
It works.
So hang on a minute, David. So if they start tracking towards 70 points in the next 10 games because they go backwards, are you going to ignore that and go, it doesn't matter, they might improve again later down the line, or are you going to go, their wheels are falling off, they're losing it? What are you going to say?
I'm going to say, thank God their wheels are falling off. Let's look at this tracking stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So you just admitted you're chatting shit. There we go. David chatting shit. Moving on. You should move on. David's working for Spurs and Chelsea. Big surprise is what AMT says here. Sorry. If
Dave, where did you get the season ticket, Dave? Was it West Ham or Tottenham?
Yeah, I got a season ticket for West Ham to take clients. Yes, I did. Yeah. See these little digs that he throws.
You got a season ticket at West Ham?
Yeah, to take clients. Yeah.
Why do you want to take us? What's that shit? Why would you do that?
Mate, listen. There's a nice little VIP area. Listen, this is how you get paid. You got to do what you got to do. You take them to the cinema.
But,
what you talking about? I'm a married man, mate.
You got to watch a shit football. You got get relegated. What are you doing, David?
I ain't got no soft spot. Listen,
you do, bro.
What I've got a soft spot is my bank account, and if me getting a West Ham ticket gets me paid more clients, then I'll do it. You know.
You would definitely get more money taking them to watch Arsenal. Or Tottenham.
Mate, listen, no chance. I don't.
Look at that. They make you even more money, though. More honey.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
They're like because it's a reflection of you. This is your business. You're going. Do you know what? We're taking you out for a wicked day out. Where are you going?
I'm based in. Most of my clients are based in East London, though, right?
And you'll be going. Do you know what? Next year might be better though. Championship. Win loads of games. It'd be great. If Pep is Pep up against competition that Sir Alex Ferguson never faced? Oh, don't talk nonsense. The quality of the Premier League back then was amazing as well. Fuck me. Go back and look how good Europe was in the 90s and noughties compared to now as well. My word.
Up against Wenger and Jose Mourinho.
Another super chat. Another comment here. And David, I need you. I don't want you to have an aneurysm when you read this one. All right.
An aneurysm.
Calm down. Okay.
Yeah, I'll try.
Declan Rice is on course to win the Premier League Player of the Year and Ballon d'Or.
Is this question to me? Is this
Ballon d'Or?
Who's answering it?
Go on, Dan.
He's third favourite right now as in the standings. And listen, for me, the only way that happens is if Arsenal were to win the Champions League and England. If England won the World Cup, then listen, Rodri got it, didn't he? And so there's no reason why Declan Rice couldn't get it. But
hold on. You're relying on England to win the World Cup for him to get it, not Arsenal to win.
No, well, listen. That's
what you just said, yeah.
No, you know what it is. I'll tell you what it is. When there's a World Cup year, it's it's different. If the World Cup weren't on, I'd just say Arsenal to win the Champions League because it seems like you have to win the Champions League to win the Ballon d'Or now. That's how it seems.
Yeah.
Right. So if Arsenal won the Champions League, but then say Vinny goes and he wins the league with Real Madrid, but then he wins the World Cup with Brazil, Vinny's probably going to get it, innit? So I feel like England would have to reach at least a final. You know, I remember Thierry Henry in 2006, right? Was clearly the best player in the world by far. He got to the Champions League final, lost it. Got to the World Cup final, lost it. They give it to Cannavaro, who had 5 good games in the World Cup. So, yeah. But it could be possible, but I feel like England would have to do something as well, not just Arsenal.
Well, I actually think he is on course for it. It's just whether or not it happens. So if Arsenal go on to win the league and Champions League, and if England are one of the favourites to the World Cup, and we are one of the best teams in the world, we are. We just are. You know, this is a team that got to the Euros final. I know you think Portugal are, but let's not pretend that England.
England are the favourites.
I don't personally think we are, but
I don't. But I think with the bookies they are.
Let's just be honest. If Arsenal win the league and England win the World Cup, Rice is going to be part of it. You telling me with the Arsenal and English media PR, it's you know what that push is going to be like for him to win it? It's going to be massive. So I actually don't disagree. I'm not a big.
What I will say is
Kane would end up winning it in that situation.
No, Kane, you could be right with Kane. Kane, what he's doing with what he's doing. Maybe it comes down to what Bayern Munich and Arsenal do in the Champions League, because they're going to win. They're going to win the Bundesliga. But that's what I mean by on course. I don't disagree with the statement. Do I think he will win it? No, because I think, like you've said, I think if England win the World Cup, you just know Harry Kane is going to be the one who's pushed for that. But I wouldn't be surprised if Declan Rice is there or thereabouts in the runnings if those trophies are won, because it's all about the trophies with the Ballon d'Or.
I think whoever wins their domestic league and the Champions League holds more weight, I think, maybe than the World Cup, because it's UEFA, isn't it? Isn't the World Cup FIFA? Isn't Ballon d'Or run by UEFA? Am I wrong here?
They joined it together now.
Did they join it now?
Yeah,
okay.
Ballon d'Or is just voted by journalists, isn't it? So
and the Ballon d'Or is very French orientated. It depends who you beat. If England beat France in the final of the World Cup, that might go against you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But,
jokes aside, if Arsenal were to win the Premier League, Champions League double, and Dan's right, England were to get to the semi-finals, it would be very hard to deny that Declan Rice has been a pivotal person.
What in terms of Arsenal right now, who would you put down, Dan, has been your player of the year across all comps so far?
It's a tough question. Really tough question. It's out of 3 players. That's Declan Rice, Timber, and Gabriel. But obviously Gabriel's injured. Now I'll go Declan Rice just over Timber. But Timber's been absolutely insane for us. But I would just maybe say Declan Rice just slightly edges it because of the position he plays, because of the extra work he does going forwards and going backwards. And look, I think we wouldn't be as good as team without Timber, don't get me wrong, but I think we maybe would be able to cope. Whereas if Declan Rice come out of that team, that's when I would be. That what you showed earlier, that video, that's when I would be like that. If Declan Rice got a long-term injury, but the guy's a machine, doesn't get injured, don't expect him to get injured. Touch wood.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
Listen, it's an interesting one. I think Arsenal fans, if you do look like you're going to win the league title, like genuinely later on in the season, you got to get your own PR right. You don't want to do a Liverpool. I think one of the reasons why like Mo Salah hasn't won more awards and everything else is because the club could never decide who its like poster boy was. Man United, we decided in '99, we knew who it was. It was Beckham. And that's why he won the awards and had the fame that comes with it. If you can't sort of, I think City have done a brilliant job. They kind of, it's almost like they pick their guy and everyone kind of clumps together. You guys need to settle on someone, because I look at it this way. Declan Rice is probably
Rice.
Rice has got more chance than the other two of winning a lot of those awards. I know some people won't like this, but it's the truth. There will be an English bias from the media, from the pundits. A lot of these ex-pro players would love to be able to say
they're not going to give it to a right. They're not going to give it to a right back, are they? So
Gary Neville might. But but no, Declan Rice will win it. I think Declan Rice will clear all the individual player of the year awards in England if Arsenal win the league.
It would depend. It would depend, though. It all depends on Mr. Bukayo Saka, if he's going to get to the levels that I know he can get to.
Maybe.
I watched your show with Goldbridge earlier, a bit of it, Terry, when you were talking about Saka and obviously the stick that he's getting. And look, obviously it's way over the top. Like the context and stuff with the assist thing is just stupid. Saying a year, there's 3 months, like you said, Terry, 3 months of the season, we wasn't even, that doesn't count because no one was playing. And the other 4 months he was injured. So, yeah, I mean, but for me, Bukayo Saka has to step up a level. He has to step up a level for Arsenal now. If we want to have this amazing season we've got, Saka needs to really step up his game, because we know how good Bukayo Saka is, and he's got to step up. People are talking about on my shows, should we drop him for Madueke on Wednesday? I think that would be silly. I think you've got to play your best players, play them into form. And if Bukayo Saka has a great second half of the season and Arsenal were to win the league, then it would come down to Saka or Declan Rice.
Yeah, I agree. I think Saka does need to go up a level a little bit, and that would cement it, to be honest.
Player of the year team in December. What is this? Well,
I agree, Terry.
Well,
I agree.
You do agree, but all the player awards that are given out actually all get voted for in February. So we're not that far away from when the votes go in. Well, actually,
we're quite far away. A lot can happen in 8 weeks, mate.
Yes, but we're nearer to the award being
We
voted.
could be
at the end of the
tracking.
season.
We
Yeah,
could
but you
be
see what I don't
tracking
like about all of
in
this,
two
right? When
different
everyone,
directions in 8
look,
weeks.
everyone
Terry,
says
you
to
know?
me,
I never
oh,
want to hear you. Do you know what is with David, right? In a few weeks, he's going to talk about tracking. Remember earlier on in the season, Dan, when he did the whole, I don't think if buts and maybes count. And all I keep hearing from him in the last, it shows how much of an influence I've been on this man. All I keep hearing is if buts and maybes now. You know what I mean? I've got a lovely little follower there in David.
Yeah, it's you,
do you
Terry.
know what though? You know what annoys me? When you make predictions, people get really offended, you know, and then at the start of the season,
With your
Gary
predictions, yeah.
Butt hurt. They get butt hurt.
Gary Neville, Jamie Carragher, everyone makes predictions at the start of the season. Everyone does it. So, and then it's my team. Because it's my team, what I'm not allowed to say I think my team's going to win the league, or I think my team's
invincible.
Dan, you can say whatever you want. You can say whatever. You can say whatever you want.
Again, that was a hot take, right? That was a hot take, Terry, right?
I know.
Yeah.
By the way, I want more of it. Like I make predictions. Some are right, some are wrong.
Exactly.
It's the predictions. I do say you two are kind of new to the YouTube world. Viewers don't tune in or untune it or stop watching based on predictions being right or wrong. Often it's the logic that comes with it, plus the humility of getting something wrong and accepting it. They're the things that the viewers actually like. Too many content creators are obsessed with being right, so they end up digging themselves down really dark and horrible holes that they never get out of, and they end up losing followers. They end up killing their own channels. They end up quite bitter and angry people online. And at the end of the day, we're talking about sport, something we love and take seriously, but it is just a sport. At the end of the day, like you get predictions right, you get predictions wrong, we laugh, we smile. Do you know what I'm saying? So this here said, Timber was Chelsea's best defender. He blocked Gyökeres. Yeah. Actually, I didn't realize it's 2 seasons running.
Yeah.
Arsenal could have won it with the last kick of the game, and an Arsenal player took it off of the other player twice. Crazy.
Gyökeres has to shout there, though, doesn't he?
That's exactly what I thought.
I think he does shout, though. I think he does. I think if you watch the footage back, he's screaming, my ball. And but equally, it's hard because you've all played football. No, it is hard. You know why it's hard? You ain't never played football, because I used to do this every time the ball would come into the box when I was defending. I'd shout, I'd learn the striker's name and shout his fucking name to stop people from going for it. You do it. You say, my ball, when it ain't your ball. How many times has the ball gone in and the keeper's not gone for it, and you're an attacker, you go, keepers, to hope the defenders leave it. It's football.
Yeah, I understand. But I think if you hear Gyökeres, you have to leave it, don't you? You have to leave it. Easier said than done. I agree, but blind.
It's also 40,000 people screaming as well. It is different, but no, I do agree.
Yeah.
More like shoulda, woulda, coulda nowadays. Yeah, he doesn't do it buts and maybes. David's
He's
like,
got to be talking to you, Terry, not me, innit? Surely.
Nah, AMT's talking about you, bruv. He might be talking about me. I believe in it to a certain extent. They tried, but equally the club is not as good. That was about Spurs earlier on the show. This is about to get very entertaining. That was when Dan turned up. We were all hoping Aaron would be here as well today, but Aaron was working, so unfortunately couldn't be here. Look, I want to thank everyone who's tuned into the show. It's been always a pleasure to sit here with you three gentlemen and talk football, and of course the audience. Thank you to everyone who's liked the show so far, super chatted, all of our members. This is going to redirect you to Footy Judge Mo's channel, so go and support my brother over there. We're live tonight after Newcastle take on Tottenham at St James's Park, so make sure you're back.
Dave will be in his Tottenham shirt.
Thank you all for tuning in. Really appreciate it massively. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we will see you all again very, very soon. Peace.